So, good morning, everyone. We will introduce everyone and I'm actually going to let them introduce themselves as I would put their images and their bio on the link. So everyone's good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is a great opportunity for me when I asked to join, be part of this committee. So I was super excited. Early career is, and also student programs are my favorite things because that's kind of where you set the tone for a future generation. So we'll go over the importance of mentorship and collaboration and the empowering mindset, authentic relationships, collaboration, supportive environment. So all the good things that we need to succeed in life. I am the moderator. My name is Susanna Gardner. I'm from Purdue University. I work for the Rosen Center for Advanced Computing. I am mostly in charge of the Anvil Outreach and Engagement Program, but that's just the one aspect of what I do because I like to do many different things. So I participate in other things as well. So we have Ibrahim, who's a senior computational scientist for Rosen Center. Well, then we have Damien, Director of Information Security and Chief Information Security Officer from Jackson State University. Wow, took my breath away. Then we have Walter, who will join us a little bit later. He works for Firefly Automatics and also United States Naval Reserve Officer. And then we have Dan, computational scientist from Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. So Walter just came back from Germany deployment, and he has a mandatory meeting at 11 o'clock our time. He's going to try to maneuver and hopefully join us as he can. All right, so we'll start with Ibrahim. So you're welcome to introduce yourself and say all the things that you want to say about yourself besides what we have written on the slide deck.
Yeah, hi everyone. Actually, I'm so happy to join this webinar. So as Susanna said, I'm currently working at RCAC Board 2 to provide user support for researchers from different departments who are using our community clusters. In the same time, actually, I contribute to the NAIR pilot, which is the new resource for artificial intelligence resources. We're just like trying to set the logistics into logistic of how this program can serve the AI community national, like all around the United States. Like my previous career, like my previous stage as a PhD student, actually, I was involved with in CFD. So I was doing kind of high speed numerical, high speed flow simulations. I've been also a software developer before. So I was a full stack Java developer. So mostly my career can be said as a computational career actually, and mostly focused in industry applications and in academia as well.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim.
Mm-hmm.
Also, to people who are attending, this is more of a discussion, and you're welcome to ask questions as we go. So don't wait till we end this meeting and just kind of throw your questions. I'm happy to get your questions in the chat, or also just unmute yourself and then just yell the question out. So the next is Damien Brown. Mr. Damien Brown, you're welcome. It's all yours.
Damien Brown, I'm happy to be here. I guess, you could read everything that I've done. I guess some things to talk about with me is that I just been working. So that's how I got here. I just work, and I just been working for 24 years, and whatever pathway that was in front of me is how I got here. That's just funny. I've been working at Jackson State for like 2 years now. And while I was working on our security maturity model, I'm now able to kind of get out. And so I've been going to the different colleges, and I was talking to the dean of the College of Business, and he used to be in the information security space. And so he looked at my bio like you're looking at it, and he said, political science, what an emphasis in PR with communication. Said, how do you get here? And I was like, well, that's interesting, pathway. Of course, military, that helped out. That's why I learned it. But I'm a security professional, so what that means is physical security and risk are like the top two domains that I started out in, with a family-owned billion-dollar oil company, and working at the environmental health, safety, and security department. So I'm also a governance, risk, and compliance guy by trade, and quantifying and qualifying risk, operating in cybersecurity, for the last 10 years in that domain, and then the physical and the risk all combined to a convergent manner, convergent mindset. And it's a mindset that they welcome here at Jackson State, and some other places that I work as well, with some other people. So that's just me in a nutshell.
Thank you, Damien. Let's see who's next. I don't remember my own slides. Oh, there you are, Dan. Welcome. Oh, it's all yours.
So I'm a computational scientist at Berkeley Lab. As like last speaker said, it's the kind of thing I just have been. It's just somehow I've been here 25 years, and it's the kind of thing where you just get up every day and go to work. And suddenly you've been here 25 years, and suddenly you know things. And to some extent, I started off doing basically more applied math, and now we do more of. So at the base, the base picture is CFD sorts of things like modeling and simulation of by solving systems of partial differential equations, and it turns out you can do that in a lot of different regimes and a lot of different applications. So I do everything from ice sheet modeling to fusion and everything in between, and it's been super fun because you get to learn all these different fields and then leave when it gets boring, and and it's all inherently collaborative. So that's why I think that's why I'm here. But it's super. I don't know if there's anything more to really say. I just really live at the boundary of math and computer science and applications of physics and things like that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Then we have Walter Gunther. So Gunther, he's a skilled robot. I'll just read his bio real quick, and hopefully he's able to join us.
I made it.
Oh, you did. Where are you? You gotta put your camera on so I can spotlight you.
All right. I'm in a parking lot trying to get safe. Sorry about the delay.
Okay. There you are.
Yeah.
Let me spotlight you, and I'm gonna let you just say what you do, who you are, and thank you for doing this on the fly.
Oh, I know it's the
on our Navy, U.S. Navy. Let's go.
yeah, my privilege. Thank you. Hey, Walter Gunter. Like you said, I am well, in my real life, I'm a roboticist. Started off in unmanned underwater vehicles. Worked in warehouse automation. Agriculture is where I got a lot of good opportunity, and then currently working in agriculture, but we are doing autonomous mowers. So we're a manufacturer, and I was brought on the team to turn our big 20,000-pound mower into a robot. Which we did successfully, and my architecture also allowed us to extend it to a new robot that's electric, and it's kind of a nice thing. In my other life, I play the Navy. I just got off of a mobilization, serving my country, looking to come back and to get into making more robot stuff. So I'm kind of getting dialed back in and all those things, and really enjoyed pushing the edges of technology. And I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I surround myself with smart people, and I'm always willing to try and learn new things, right? Take on the technologies. So I'm always like intrigued by what people come up with and what gets implemented. Like we have a pretty amazing Firefly. I'm not part of the path planning team. I built the architecture of the team, We have some smart people who worked on our path planning, which is kind of critical for some of the things we do. And we leveraged someone's PhD thesis software or theme, and then turned it into something real. So we have a really good accidental cross collaboration with academia, but a lot of good answers come from people who are working on really hard things. And I like to say my claim to fame is taking that cutting edge technology and making it real, putting it into application and solving customers' problems. So I'm always down with like working on technology, pushing computer vision. I mean, I'm all about AI as far as, leveraging the vision, what you can get in your eyes is really awesome, but you have to learn what those are. So I really think that's really nice in the world of robotics. Sorry, I could go on forever. I'm here for any questions.
Wonderful. Thanks. I'm so glad you made it. I'm going to stop sharing the screen now so we can get back to, so I don't need to get distracted by all that. So I appreciate everyone's joining. And Walter and I met literally a couple of 3-4 weeks ago in Germany. I was on the base, and well, I don't know the name of it. I keep forgetting. There's so many bases in Germany. So anyways, I was invited to a barbecue there on the base, and I met with a bunch of people, and then we start talking to Walter, and he start using AI robotics. And I said, you have to be on my panel, because there's the industry aspect, there's the government aspect, there's just so much going on. And I'm sure it takes a lot of collaboration with various stakeholders. So I just kind of forced him to be on this today, and I'm glad he's here. And then to our attendees, and we did ask if you would like to have questions and kind of give you a time to prepare them. You're welcome to start, but I also prepared a bunch of questions in case. What I'm going to do, I'm going to share those the questions in the chat as a document. You're welcome to open and pick the one that you're most interested. Sometimes the questions on the fly are great if you can be spontaneous, but not everyone is kind of that way. So I like to be prepared, and I'm going to do that while I'm doing this. I don't want to say, because I've worked with student programs before, so it's like kids, you're adults now, so none of you are kids. So you're welcome to start questions if you have while I'm sharing the questionnaire in the chat. Who wants to go first and address to anyone you want, or just a general question to no brave souls? All right, I'm sharing this. And I also share the questions with our panelists. What I do again mention they like spontaneous questions, but I also like to talk about things I'm most passionate. And sometimes the question I would like to answer is not the question that I've been asked. So I did share it with panelists also. And if any of you wants to choose a question that they want to kind of describe and answer, that's also great. Just to read out the question and then go ahead and reply verbally.
I can go.
I heard something.
Yeah, I can go.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Thank you
Please
so
introduce yourself and
much. Yeah. So
we
I am
know.
Babalo Mary. I am a postdoc at CSAT at MIT, working at Julia Lab. So I think one of the questions that I really like asking sometimes myself about, since I'm just starting my career, about how can I look for like new collaboration? How can I go and approach people if I have an idea, or how can I as well, like even if it's not only about idea, about as well how to share, like and like if you have a proposal, how I can justify it, how can I approach them? So, and all these possible ways for me to just establish a collaboration, and be part of the academia work flow, and yeah. So
Who would like to take that?
So if I may start actually. So actually this is one of the questions actually I even asked it myself like long time ago. So actually the starting point is the places where the work your domain is presented. So I had actually heard this the first time when I was doing my master's. So there was like a very well-known figure in the field of CFD. His name is Payman Givy. So one of the things actually he told us, me and my other friends, if you go to the conferences, don't go just to present. You have to network. This is the main goal of the conferences. So you can go to the seminars, you can go to the conferences, you can listen to webinars, you can search for LinkedIn, people who are presenting their latest innovations or results about the topic that you are more interested in. So you can approach them and you can actually ask for collaborations. I had such like an experience with some guy who's doing a high-speed kind of simulation similar to mine, and I've been serving the ResearchGate, and I was so interested. I just emailed him, like texted him, can we meet just to discuss? I'm really like impressed by the work you do, and I think we can discuss like opportunities, how we can develop this as a collaboration or such. And he was welcoming actually. So we said our first like Zoom meeting, and we started this collaboration. So that's how it started actually. So even though he's not from US, he's like he's doing research. He started doing research in Europe, and he was welcoming. And now I have this network and collaboration with him. The same thing you can find actually, which is you can have like high opportunities of this type of collaboration and networking conferences. So when you go to present your work, you can attend other like sessions, the topics that you are more interested in, and then when those guys are finishing their presentation, you can come and stop by, just introduce yourself, tell them, okay, I'm interested in this one. Actually, can we keep in contact? Just we might have some collaboration, or we can change like ideas, exchange ideas, something like that. So usually it starts in this way.
I want to build on that and say, yeah, conferences are amazing, but they're absolutely not about the talks. It's about all the little things that happen in between, all the interstitial stuff. It's the standing next to someone on a coffee line and saying, hey, what do you do? And that's why virtual conferences were such a disaster for us. I mean, but I also want to say that when I was an early career person, I was super shy. And I would never have walked up to someone and said, hey, because I figure these people are amazing. They wouldn't have time for me. And I've learned that that's not the case. And the most important thing you can do is if you're like me, like I was, and we're shy, is learn to go up and talk to people. Force yourself to go and say hi. You're going to find out that almost everyone here is excited about what they do. And we're excited to talk about it. And we're thrilled to reach out. And I can't stress that enough. And even if you go to someone's talk and it doesn't work out to actually hook up with, and talk to them because it's whatever happens, send an email, right? I mean, say, hey, I saw your talk and I'd like to follow. If you're still around this meeting, maybe we can set a time to talk, or find a way to make those connections. And it's hard, and it requires, at least for me, it required a lot of stepping out of myself and forcing myself to become more social. And in the end, now meetings are a lot more fun now. I mean, before they were stressful, and now they're fun.
Yeah, that's you do that off just like training, right? In any, whether it's weightlifting, body, whatever you do, you build on what you have, and then just slowly, and it's a progressive overload versus just one big jump. I can't disagree with both comments. Networking is the key to almost anything you want to do professionally or personally. And then the thing is, doesn't mean just because you walk up to this person X maybe they don't have any opportunities to collaborate with you. But what it does when you share you need to speak up and share what you want. I think that's another thing. As women, we kind of shy away from saying what we want. And then when you walk up to a person, you need to tell them what you want and what you want to collaborate. And if they don't have that opportunity at that time, but they may know someone who can collaborate with you, right? So there's always like, it's just the connecting with others through this person. And then one thing that I would also add, there are times when you go up to someone and meet with them and ask who they are and what they do. It's not necessarily what you can take from them. In my case, when I met Damien, I didn't need anything from Damien, but there was a need at some point for the MSCC community. I connected Damien with our director of CyberTap, and they together did the presentation. So it has nothing to do with me. I need nothing from any of them, but I put them together for outside of me. And that when it was a time I needed something from Damien, I reached out to him and he was part of something I did later. So I think it's not always like what you can get right then from the person. It's more of a establishing, building that relationship for in the future. If there is an opportunity for them to collaborate with you, you will stand up in their mind.
Yeah. Now one of the things that I think, when you're talking about that, which number one, the way that we met too was that I'm gonna be totally honest, I did want to work with Purdue because of some of the things that I saw when I first started this role. When I first started this role, there's some cybersecurity initiatives that Purdue's leading in front, and they've always led in front in certain aspects. So when I saw Susanna, and Susanna had the passion and the drive to collaborate, well, it was just an automatic thing. Now, the other reason why I like the situation too is because you always need to go to people that are necessarily not in your same circle, right? Purdue, Big Ten school in Indiana. I'm familiar with Indiana, but was Jackson State doing anything with Purdue? And the reason why is because it's like a most unlikely scenario, but it's been a great scenario, man. I really, in the quick time that we've collaborated on a number of different things, it has been great. And so it's just also the most unlikely as well. So I mean, just you need to push towards, making those connections with people that, are just unlikely. Normally we probably maybe try to do something with Mississippi State, which is in our state, as like a big research, school or whatnot. And we're a research school. So, kind of connecting with people that are not likely to connect, and also connecting with, people on your common interests. We have common interest in research. And so, that's what makes it, great. And I fight to stay in contact with them. And, we presented at the MSCC, and it just so happens who she connected me with in Purdue. We went after a grant. We didn't get the grant, but still, it was a great experience. And we were able to share, capabilities as well. I shared it with them, my capability. They gave me good feedback, and, they shared theirs. So, it's really a part of just, getting out of your comfort zone, so to speak, and then hooking up with folks who, have the same goals that you have. So.
Any follow-up questions, Bob or Walter? Do you have anything you want to add?
I just wanna like if I like in if I have like some collaboration in my mind, and let's assume that I faced some rejection from people. So how can I approach this, and how can I really turn this to not a rejection, and like face such agreement? Because like from my side, I have some fear that maybe people they're gonna reject, and how if they gonna reject, how can I just convince them or approaching them next time, maybe improving ideas or maybe building on what feedback they gave me.
Mhm. Anyone wants to take up on that?
Like I would say, like usually in such scenarios, you have to understand that any rejection cannot be personal. So you first don't take it personal. So it's not something like if I say no, it doesn't mean that I don't want to work with you, because I have my own circumstances. I might be busy. I might have some proposal I'm working on. So usually you have to train yourself to accept the responses, even if they are negative, to accept, like give them like a reasoning, a positive reasoning. Okay, he might be busy now, so I might look for another person. I might come back again to him. So usually that's what you should do. It is like a training. So as Daniel said, like sometimes you are shy, sometimes you overthinking about something, but you have to make the initiative. As soon as you get the first response, even if it is not what you were expecting, okay, see, that's fine. He might be busy. He might be like have some proposal working on. Okay, I might approach him later. Let me focus on other thing. So don't take it personal.
It's a great point.
Mhm.
Definitely not taking personal. I mean, and on top of that, that's an opportunity to keep engaging with the person to understand who they are. I think sometimes we tend to dive in our culture in the US, we dive instantly into business side of our relationship. But I think not everyone operates that way. I think it's like getting to know the people in person and understand their interests, and outside of what they do, it will help you to connect with them even more. One of the things, there's a person I'm trying to get in touch for quite some time, that they showed interest in collaboration, and they were communicating it, and it just kind of stopped, right? And I'm not, it wasn't rejection. I didn't hear, oh, I'm not interested. It was just like, that's what Ibrahim said. It could be something, maybe they're busy, maybe this and that, and they're faculty at whatever university. So here's what I'm doing personally. I'm trying to find a person who knows this person personally. I'm looking for advocate for my goal or my project, right? So I'm looking for like an ambassador or someone who sponsor, I guess, who would go and sort of speak on my behalf. In this particular case, that actually Damien is the one who potentially knows this person. I want them to, so that's another route that I would approach. Usually no is a no, but I haven't heard no. So there's a slight opportunity. But even if it's a no, it's a no today. It's no for now. And then I would keep the door and window open with communications. Has nothing to do with this particular project, more of a sharing what the success you had with something else, so they can maintain that interest level, so they still remember, oh, Rabab, someone who was talking about this and that. When you see them again at the conferences or something, you have a conversation you can start based on the communications you had via email.
I think it's like about professional. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Well, the one thing I was gonna say, just real quick, and this is me coming from a different spot, right? Because I'm kind of new to the division of information technology, and then because I come from the private sector, I come from, the military side of things, I'll have a different type of energy, and I'll have a different type of presence, and that energy and that presence is welcomed. And this is what, I see, I see a lot of times researchers, and just in my small time, just really studying them from a logistic standpoint, they're not necessarily the best. So like when you come to them with something that you're trying to do with them logistically, they can't get their head wrapped around how to put that together. And then a lot of times, what I'm faced with is in our current project, because we're part of the MSCC, we have a grant, and that grant is to help bolster networking so that our network is resilient and reliable, research and education facilitation, and stakeholder alignment. And so what that means is that I have what you call a cyber infrastructure facilitator, and me and him, we go out and we grab people, and we're bringing these researchers together, and we're bringing the research together under the name of high throughput computing. And we're actually going towards having high throughput computing centralized in our university, which is something they ain't never had, right? And so that brings the thoughts, and I see how when you come to people with certain things, logistically, they just can't wrap their hands around it. So, you keep trying, you keep pushing. And I like what Susanna said, though. I think, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, you still prepare for that moment. It's like you still prepare for that moment where you're going to have collaboration with someone. And I feel like in research, man, please, you're going to come with AI and with everything else, you're going to get your opportunity. Heck, you probably get your opportunity to go out there on your own and do something, and somebody will come along and try to jump on you. So a lot of times it's kind of like the field of dream things, build it and it'll come. And, and a lot of times, so you don't want to get pigeonholed in, I went to this PhD here, or I went to this person at this university here and they turned me down. What do you have? Because I'm almost certain that whatever you have, I don't know who you are personally, but I'm almost certain whatever you have is probably good, and you just need to continue to work on what you have and prepare for that moment, and then do what I'm asking you to do, that is logistically be prepared to facilitate that. That's your stuff is good. We put a man on the moon, so I mean, I'm sure it's awesome. You got to logistically have that facilitated so that you can lay it out and speak that talk, and then tap into maybe some of the resources that are in your institution, or try to tap into some of the resources from trade associations that you work with or whatever, because nothing happens in a vacuum, and so there's people out there that can help facilitate that as well. So I'm gonna be quiet, but that's what I think.
Thank you all.
That motivated me. Can I go? Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
Awesome. I look at it like this: relationships, like you mentioned, like you need to get to know people, right? That's a big deal. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I worked for Walmart for a while, right? Everyone's like, oh, you're at Walmart, you have all this money. Like, but that didn't matter. I was building relationships. I went to a conference and I met some people from Qualcomm. And in that group, there was a couple of dudes that I just kind of connected with. And now a few of them are in this group called TinyML, which I've been following for like years as they've been making projects. And none of them have been something I can like grab. So I think of it from my perspective, where selfishly, I got to sell products that customers want. So I want to have technology that's readily available, leveraging the really good things like, FPGAs. We don't do HPCs yet, but like things that, vision systems that I can influence that work for me. But again, I keep watching them on LinkedIn. I comment on the presentations they do or any products they may have coming out. But, from my perspective, I have these friendships that transcend years, that if I don't talk to someone for like 5 years, maybe I see where they're at and I'm like, oh my gosh, you got something I'm looking for. Let me leverage what you're doing. And then now maybe we can collaborate. I can influence, let them know how my stuff's working and the kind of challenges we face from a commercial perspective, where, the customer doesn't care that it's cutting edge, although I do. So I need to know these people who are doing this stuff so that I can then easily apply it into my solution and support them as far as that goes. So I love the people I meet. I just keep in contact with forever, even if they don't want it.
Right. So just to kind of sum this up, this particular webinar, there was one person. So obviously, I know some people, I don't know everyone in the world, but so when I was putting these people together, I went first, my initial, went to my sort of hyper local community, which is my colleagues. Then I went outside of that, and then I went farther and further. So, and then someone who I also had in mind to bring on board, they aren't able to because of other commitments there at the conference. So my one of the persons for the committee connected me to this person, and then that person said, I'm so sorry, I can't do it this time, and I would love to, so on and so forth, but I will get you in touch with Dan, who's exceptional. So it's like, it wasn't, I didn't find just Dan like somewhere, you know, someone connected me to them. So it takes this person who knows me, connects me to a person they know, and that person connects me to. So there's always the chain. Like, I don't think of this one person as in a vacuum. They're connected to the world, and you never know who they're connected to. I think that, as Damien said, be prepared to execute sort of your, like, what you want to share. You got to tell them. So that's the only way they can bring you to their network, because it's one of those, what is that pyramid? The bad, actually, the not the marketing, whatever strategy. So one person knows other people, and so on and so forth.
And I actually, I would say some of my most successful collaborations are ones in which I don't actually participate. They're just ones when I meet someone else and say, hey, you guys should talk. And then and so those, some of those are the most successful things I've done. And I basically left after 30 seconds.
Yep, I do that all the time. And that's because I actually listen to the person's story. And when they share their story, I instantly think of someone else who could benefit from this meeting. So I do that often. It has nothing to do with me, but it's more of a to connect other people with each other. So networking, connecting, is that works for me.
You thought science was going to be sitting in a room doing technical things, and it's not.
For sure. Oh, I have a question in the chat. Do you have a fun story about networking? For instance, some quickly thing you do at conference to meet people, or you got something great out of the networking that you didn't expect? So do you have a fun story about networking? For instance, some quick, quirky, I'm sorry, not quickly, quirky thing you do at conference to meet people, or you got something great out of networking?
I got a quirky one because the military connection. I know my other friend who's from the military too. Like, we are like magnets. So when I went to this one conference, randomly found the other military guy. He was a Marine. We don't judge him for that. And literally connected on talked about stuff that I wouldn't have sought this guy out, because he worked for a company doing things that I didn't think was something I'd be interested in at the time. But like, literally, because of that simple nerdy military connection, like, we built a bond. It was pretty hilarious. I thought that was weird.
Anybody else at the conferences? Any kind of and I
Or
think
any tips and tricks that you use to connect at a conference that is very typical of you?
any what? Say it again. Sorry.
Any tips or tricks that you use to connect with people at a conference, that is out of, very specific to you, something like that.
Very specific to me. Oh, that's
I mean, any of you,
right. That's a good question, because everyone has their own way. Mine is, as Damien said, like, my energy is coming from completely different backgrounds, and I wasn't part of HPC, and wasn't part of supercomputing community. So I show up, I'm me, so, which is kind of not quiet, super outgoing. I am not shy, as Daniel said. I go to people and talk to them with no issue. So I'm being authentic. That's what I want to stick with, because I don't have time or energy to pretend to be someone else. It's much easier to be me and act me versus just this something else. And I think it is something that most people have to learn, because you cannot pretend for a long time. And so my strategy is to be me, authentic me, and share the stories. And when I talk to people, I share something personal that I would like to share. So I like to travel, I like to eat, so what I do, I connect with them on a personal level first. That's my, I don't want to say strategy, it's just kind of natural. I want to get to know you as a person, and I don't need anything from you. I just want to know who you are and what you love and how you do your life. So that's my advice. Anybody else?
I would like to add one thing. I'm Megha from Omnisoc Indiana University. So one of the quirkiest things I have done at most of the conferences I've gone is, to break the ice and get people talking is tell them that I've been a practicing dentist before transitioning to cybersecurity and HPC. So, it's amazing how this basic fun fact becomes like a sparking curiosity and all that conversation about why the shift and then what are you doing currently. So that has been pretty neat, I would say, and it gives me like a unique talking point, and it for sure helps people remember me.
I agree. I do remember you. That's how you and I met.
Yes. Mhm.
I'm always gonna remember that a dentist transitioned into cybersecurity. That is hilarious. Yeah, that is pretty good. The only time that I saw this real quick, so because like I teach in two places, so I teach in Cambridge College and I also teach ethical hacking at Jackson State. But at Cambridge College, there was a student who they owned their own medical device company, and they came from India over, and so her husband was working everything and this and that, and she wanted to come over, and her thing was like specifically selling, in cybersecurity. So it's very interesting. And I think that one of the things that I always break the ice with is just talking about the different verticals, because in the beginning, everybody was like, oh, it's an IT function. And now you got like there's business majors that do it. There's accounting, which accounting still blows my mind. Accounting, how they got into how CPA firms are doing like pen testing and assessment. That blows my mind every day. We're working on a cybersecurity campaign here, and I've pulled a psychology student. I mean, because that's what it is. It's the person and social engineering and the person that's behind the computer. So there's a psychological thing that's going on behind the computer and why people do what they do. So it's really very interesting to hear that. But that is a way to break the ice, and you know what I mean? I mean, that's the same thing. People look at me crazy when I come to them talking to them about high throughput computing and how they can monetize it at the school as well. And so everybody's like, what do you know about that? I'm like, well, you know. Yeah, it's always good to like talk and share that kind of stuff.
Yep. So basically share something unique about yourself. I think that's a little, it works for me. I don't know. You're welcome. So we have one more question. Unless Mukul, you have sort of follow up. Nope. Okay. So do you have any suggestions for navigating collaboration where you are in a supportive role and the need to advocate for your own research goal, especially if it requires the collaborators to change their workflow and tools? Mhm. That's a good question and challenging and makes us think a little. By Nigel Tan.
I think what you're talking about is something very close to what I do, which is we take our techniques and we take them to domain scientists and use them they can help them improve their ability to do with their work. And that's almost always the answer is, first of all, listen, make sure you're listening to what they're saying, what their needs are. Don't just walk into a room and say, "Hey, I've got this. I've got the solution to all your problems." Right? Listen, and then be able to make the case of why changing the workflow will benefit them. Because at the end of the day, they want to get things done. If you have a better mousetrap, or a better, whatever, it can take a while, but if you can make that case, people will listen. Is that the question? Is that even the question you were asking?
Yeah, close.
It's also,
I think,
if you're already working with them, and it sounds like you are, because you're talking about already being enrolled, then being competent is a huge benefit too. I mean, if they see you if you're part of their collaboration and you're doing things and doing useful stuff, and they can see that you're trustworthy and reliable, that gets you mostly in the door, I think. And it gives
now,
you to talk to them other ways. I mean,
Nigel, I also think strength is in numbers, right? So if you could find someone who could also almost on your side and almost like believes in your idea, almost bought into what you're saying, I think that's where you use that opportunity to kind of share more and then tell them. It takes at least 5 times to get someone to hear you. That's what study shed says. I don't know how much of it's true, but so get that person sort of on your side as your ally, and then it's like not you by yourself. You're doing that in teams with so and so. So I think that would be get someone who can sort of advocate for you and sort of sponsor you. And there's
it's also a case where we don't take rejection personally, right? They may not hear you the first time. There may be also sometimes there's structural reasons. There's reasons you don't understand that may be political, why they can't do things the way you want. They have to use this particular vendor. They have to use this particular method because big reasons. Yeah, but keep talking, keep listening. You'll get there.
Yeah, to Daniel's point, I know that there was something that we didn't even hear anything about, but then when the nodes are coming to campus, that's when people come out of the woodwork and they say, oh, wait a minute, you need to say this to this person and that person, this person. And I was like, dude, you didn't say anything when I came to you like 3 months ago. But now that we got our nodes coming, now it's, so yeah, you know what I mean? So it can get political. You got, definitely if you're approaching someone who's already funded, that a lot of times it gets political real quick.
So I'm not really sure if I'm understanding right. Do you have suggestions for navigating collaboration while you're doing kind of like domain support? So actually, when you do domain support, usually you have to link your background with the person who's you're trying to solve like the issue for actually. So for example, like in my main role, actually, I work with different researchers from different domains. Sometimes I see like that domain, like that person who I'm supposed to solve his issue have some common like grounds in terms of skills, in terms of research, in terms of things I've been working on. So usually like I start like maybe I suggest like instead of like solving it like by sending an email, do this and do that. Usually I recommend like, okay, let's have a meeting. And then I market myself like, I see you are doing this and this and that. Why you don't do this and this and that? Because of my background. So you have to embrace that person. And then you have to transform him instead of focusing on solving this issue into focusing on you, who you are. And then you start this type of talk, and that will be like the beginning of the collaborations. I started like this, like at different stages, like especially when I was a student, actually. So when I was a student, actually, I had some programming like background, and I also took some courses in machine learning, and then I met with some guy who has a lot of huge of data in biomedical engineering. So I approached him. He said, I have this and that, and then I told him, okay, I'm a mechanical engineer and you're biomedical. So why you don't integrate machine learning in your data just to create like a model? Oh, he was like impressed. How can I do that? And that was the beginning for this collaboration. Usually you have to advocate for yourself. You have to market yourself. You have to see if there's a common background between you and the other person. If there is, then there's a chance of getting collaborated with them. Otherwise, the chance will be a little, and I don't think will be like something you should pursue, especially if there's nothing common between like your like from your like how would say your like you have research perspectives and he has research perspectives. If there is no thing in common, then any collaboration, like especially in terms of research, won't be successful, I would say. So there should be something that you can add to that person. And there is also something that person can add to you. That's what I would say, actually.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Do you have any follow-up questions, Nigel?
Nope.
Awesome. Well, it's 11:58. I know we can talk hours and hours, but I do understand people have lives to live and do other things. Any final kind of words to our people? Anyone actually can say whatever they want. It doesn't have to be just panelists and or attendees. Anyone, if there is any words of goodbyes till next time, please do.
I was just like, so tangential, let me just make this 30-second like promotion of tangentially speaking is like a commercial company wanting to leverage AI and ML and computer vision and stuff. The biggest thing we look for is we're always searching for things that exist, right? As a good engineer, I can invent a lot of things, but let me find out what kind of people are already doing. So for like sharing collaboration for us means like GitHub, presenting your stuff at papers, like a Ross Con, right? Go somewhere and talk about what you're doing so that I can then Google it, research it on my own, understand it, and then maybe leverage it in what I'm trying to accomplish as one attempt. And that's really been our success. Contribute in an open way, so that's easy to share.
Rabab, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say, I would like to just reach you out this week if you have some time. I have some little thing that I need just help from you if you can.
Me?
Yeah.
Susanna? Oh yeah, absolutely. I will put my email address in the slide deck that we'll share with everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. But thanks and have a wonderful day. I hope to see everyone besides our panelists. Probably we'll see at SC. I don't know, Ibrahim, if you're going, but Walter, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thanks for being here. Damien, thank you so much. You always save my day. Dan, nice to meet you for the first time, and I look forward to keep working with you and collaborating. So everyone have a great day. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to send me an email, which I will share in the slide deck. Bye-bye.